Hello guys, this is the SWTOR guy here. As I promised, I'm gonna make different types of videos about how to get rich. This is the first part. As you guys probably remember if you are following my channel long ago, I made a video about how to get rich with dailies, cartel market, crafting and things like that. Now, since a lot of things come up to the game, I'm gonna update these versions. So for this episode, I'm gonna make a how to get rich with dailies, and as you can see, it's an updated version. So I'm gonna tell you how to get rich. Don't surprise, because there will be a lot of numbers coming up, and yeah, this is gonna be interesting. So let's get starting this. So let's go with the simple things. So first off, I'm gonna go with Ilum. Basically, Ilum has a couple of dailies, but I'm not going to talk about how you can do it and things like that. I'm just going to talk about the money, how much you can get if you're doing the dailies and things like that. So if you're doing the total dailies, you can get 70k, and it's pretty much 35 minutes to do all of the dailies. And also, if you're doing this, for example, for 3 days in a week, so not all of the day, just 3 times, so it requires 35 minutes, that's 210k for you, pretty much. So that is a good thing. So if you have like 45 minutes to, just go in Ilum, and now it's much easier just, since we have this quick travel and the cooldown is 6 minutes or maybe none, you can go there simply and, just farm it for 3 days, and not all the time. If you have the time, just go there. But since you are, for example, if you have more time, you can go to the Gree event if it's on. The Gree event full dailies give you 53k pretty much, just the dailies if you're doing all the things. So for example, the first time you're there, you can get like 70-80k. But now I'm just gonna talk about the dailies. Pretty much this is a 25-30 minutes to do the whole Gree event daily. If you are, for example, in a PvP server, it's a little bit more, because maybe someone is gonna trying to kill you or things like that. But if you, for example, doing the Gree event for 3 days, that's 160k as well. So you can see the numbers right here, and that is just a really good option how you can get rich in these days. So, for example, if you want to go for the reputation or just farming the Grey Helix, but it's easy just to go for the world boss there, pretty much you can do that. But since you done the Ilum dailies, why not go to the Gree event if it's on? So overall, if this two, you compare the Gree event and the Ilum, overall you can get 123k. And if you're doing this for 3 days, what I've been talking about, that's 370k credits. So I think that's a really good start. Just for example, farming there for 3 days. If you can't go and can't play SWTOR all the time, you can just do that. That is just a great idea for this. Now let's talk about Belsavis. Belsavis is the planet where there's a lot of dailies there, but there's a lot of time you require. Basically, the whole dailies give you 94k credits, and I'm actually not talking about the junks and anything, just the daily credits what you receive. So if you getting good junks or things like that, you can sell, you can get over 100k easily. But of course I'm gonna talk about just the credits. But it requires 55 minutes to do it. And of course I'm talking about the heroics and everything else, what's in it. But yeah, 100k credits for that pretty much is really good. If you have like an hour and, just to do that. But if you're doing this 3 times, that's even much better, because it's like 300k for you. So that is a pretty good option as well, just to go there and simply do that. The third one is Blackhole. Now Blackhole is a really small place, and there is not much dailies in there, pretty much like 6 or 7. You can get 56k if you're doing it. It requires like 30-35 minutes, so there's not much time you need to go there and do, except the heroic. That is actually requires 10 minutes, the others are like 5. So yeah, and overall if you're doing it for 3 days, that is 170k credits. So that is not bad, but not that good as well. Next up, the Section X. The Section X one is, unfortunately, it's a big planet, so you need to travel around, and there's no quick travels there. So it gives you 60k credits pretty much, and but unfortunately it requires 45 minutes pretty much. So it takes you a lot to go there and just farm 60k. Of course, if you need a reputation, you're probably gonna do that, but you don't need to be perfectly honest. That is just, I think that's not a big daily area just to go there. If you, or of course, if you want to farm achievements and things like that, that is a good option as well. But also, if you're doing it for 3 days, that is 145k credits. And it requires the heroic, which you need 4 people and things like that. So, yeah. The next one is the CZ198 area, which I think it's my personal favorite, to be perfectly honest. When you're doing it, it's a small area pretty much. It gives you 36k credits. It's not much. I mean, really, it isn't not much. But you can do it probably like 20 minutes. So it's really easy just to go there. And if you have like simply just 20 minutes, oh, I'm gonna actually do this daily and, you know, just get some credits if I don't have any items to sell and things like that. I'm just gonna do that. And you're doing it for 3 days or 4 days pretty much. That's 110k for you. And you also get reputation and things like that for it. I think that's a pretty good option just to go there. Now the next one is not that much a good option. Not pretty good option, I mean. It's Oricon. Oricons have a lot of missions and also a lot of bonus missions. If you, for example, doing it for the first time, for the whole thing, it requires like 50 minutes, yeah, to do it. And if you're doing also the bonus missions, that's an hour plus. So yeah, and also the bonus missions not give you anything, just achievements for now on. Okay, actually give you some credits, but not much. So overall, when you're doing the simple dailies, not the bonuses and things like that, it gives you 78k credits. So that is good, but if you're doing it for 3 days, that's 234k credits. I think that's a really decent amount, but it requires a lot of time, just to go there and yeah, just do the dailies and things like that. It's gonna be boring later on. The next one is Makeb. Makeb requires like 50 minutes or an hour, because you need to go a lot of places in Makeb. But it gives you 91k credits. I think that's a really good sign. I mean, really good. And also the difficulty there is not much, because the level synchronization, and things like that, it's really hard to go back to the planets and do the Section X or Belsavis and things like that. So that is a pretty good option. And for 3 days, if you're doing it for 3 days, that's 273k credits, which is pretty decent, I think, because all you going there is just, farming dailies, and I'm actually not even talking about the stage weekly or the GCI thing. I'm just gonna talk about the simple daily quests. So I think that's a pretty fair amount, but after 2 or 3 times it's gonna be boring, so yeah. Now I'm gonna talk about a different thing. Since I'm going, as you probably saw, I'm going like lines pretty much, so timelines and things like that. Now I'm gonna talk about story. So I'm gonna talk about this time the Shadow of Revan, the whole thing. Alright? So overall, when you're doing the story, the Shadow of Revan storyline, the Shadow of Revan storyline just simply give you 546k credits. Could you believe it? 546k credits just for doing the Shadow of Revan storyline. I think that is a pretty awesome deal. Because the fact is, every time when you actually want to do a story, because why not? Because the game is pretty much all about the story. You can get an awesome story and also a lot of new stuffs in it. And the 2 planets actually are pretty good to just go there and things like that. And this is actually pretty much the overall. So when you're doing the side missions, doing the story missions, doing the daily missions just one time, and in Yavin 4 the same. So that is pretty good. 546k just for doing missions, and you also getting a good story as well. So I can't say anything else for that. So I think that's a pretty good start, right? If you're just going for the first time and have the Shadow of Revan expansion, why not check it out? I think that's a pretty good option. But also another thing, since we're talking about the Shadow of Revan, I'm gonna talk about something else as well in the Shadow of Revan. So for example, if you're doing just the storyline for the both planets on the Shadow of Revan expansion, not the side quests, not the dailies, not anything, just the story missions, it also gives you 310k. So I think that's pretty good just to do that. So that is pretty good deal as well. But if you're doing the side quests, just the side quests give you 103k on Rishi. I'm not talking about in Yavin 4, because on Yavin 4 you're not gonna do side quests, you're gonna do the dailies. And also on Rishi, the daily quests give you 30k credits. If you're doing the dailies in there, it's require like 20-25 minutes. Not because of the missions, because you need to travel. That's why. And there was not much of a big deal in there. And on Yavin 4, the dailies, when you're doing it double times, the first time you're gonna get 50k and the other times are gonna give you 60k, and pretty much it requires 35 and 40 minutes. Now the reason for that is because you need to do a lot of things just to do this daily, and I think it's not worth it at all just to go the dailies for 60k. Instead 45, 50, I'm gonna waste like 10 or 15 minutes plus to, for example, go to Belsavis or Oricon, and I'm gonna getting more credits pretty much. But if you compare all the dailies, so the Rishi and the Yavin 4 one, you gonna get 90k credits, but it requires 50-55 minutes and all of the loading screens, all of everything. So I'm counting everything for this. So yeah, that was the whole Shadow of Revan thing. You probably see a lot of numbers. Sorry about that. If it confused you, just pause the video if you want to understand it. So next up, I'm gonna talk about Ziost. Ziost is pretty much have a lot of story missions as well, and also side quests and daily missions as well. So everything. The base missions, the core missions, give you 81k credits. The side missions give you 61k credits, and the daily missions are giving you 75k credits. The daily missions is pretty much 35-40 minutes to do it, so Yeah, why not? It's a pretty good and decent planet as well. And the reason because of 45 and 40 minutes is because of the traveling as well. Because there is no quick travels just for the base, and there is nothing no else. Pretty much, if you're doing all the things together, like just one time, if you're doing the base, the core missions, the side missions, and the daily missions, it gives you 215k credits. And also a plus thing, if you, like, for example, doing the second or fourth time and, you know, just want to skip everything and things like that, it's not much of a big deal. It's just probably like 2 hours to do it. Probably like 2 hours, not much. So if you, for example, just want to miss some couple of storylines, it's still like 200k credits or so. And if you're doing this for like 3 days or 3 different characters, I'm gonna talk about that, it's 650k. 650k. If you have, like, for example, Christmas and the holidays are coming soon now, and you know, it's really easy, just 2 or 3 hours. You know what, I'm gonna make a level 50 or 60 character and I'm just gonna go Ziost and farm 650k for 3 characters. Because why not? It's really simple and good idea. But anyways, the daily missions, I'm gonna talk about the dailies. It gives you 75k credits, just simply. It requires 35 and 40 minutes. And if you're doing this for 3 days, which is, I think, Ziost is a pretty good idea just to go there. It gives you 220k pretty much. So that is a good option as well, just to go there and have some fun. Another thing, let's talk about another story-oriented thing, which came out not so long ago, the Knights of the Fallen Empire expansion. The Knights of the Fallen Empire expansion not giving you any dailies or things like that, but when you're doing the storyline, the whole storyline, there is a couple of bonus missions there and 1 or 2 side quests I think you can do it, but anyways, the whole main thing is, when you're doing the Knights of the Fallen Empire expansion, and when you've done it until the last chapter, for now, Chapter 9 Alliance, it gives you 310k credits, and also you're gonna get an awesome storyline as well. So I think that's a pretty good option, just to do the Knights of the Fallen Empire with a whole new character. For example, for a whole new server, you're gonna get 310k, and I think that's a pretty good start. And I'm actually not counting the junks and the gear and anything what you're receiving. So that is a good option as well. And last but not least, let's talk about something else, the Rakghoul event. Since we're talking about events and things like that, I'm not gonna miss the Rakghoul event, since if it's on for a week, it's daily wise. So overall, if you're doing the whole Rakghoul event, it gives you 92 credits, and of course it requires 40 or 45 minutes. Also, if you are in the PvP server, it's probably more, because there's a lot of PvPers there who, you know, just farming the achievements to kill and things like that. So for PvPers it's probably more time, but if you are not on a PvP server, it's pretty much 40-45 minutes to do it. And it gives you 92 credits, which is a pretty decent amount of credits, and also it's a couple of fun stuff going there. And also, I'm not talking about the and actually, if you want, you can go farm the world boss or the achievements and stuff like that. Now let's face something else. I'm gonna compare something for something. Okay, imagine if you are in a fresh server. You just started the game, installed everything. You finished the base storyline, for example. You're not started on level 60, you just started the base storyline. For example, you want to do, I don't know, a couple of dailies. Let's talk about, okay, dailies. What am I gonna do? I have like 2.5 hours. I need to do a couple of dailies. Which ones? Fuck off, Steam. Which one should I go? For example, I'm gonna take 3 dailies. which requires 2.5 hours to do it. CZ, Ilum with the Relics of the Gree event, fuck off Steam, and Yavin 4, just the Yavin 4 daily. If you're doing the whole thing, don't think about Steam. If you're doing the whole thing, this gives you 220k credits just for 2.5 hours. And if you have like 3 days, so for example 3 times in 7 weeks to do like this thing, if the Relics of the Gree event is on, 660k credits for you. So I think for 2.5 hours, so pretty much overall 7.5 hours to do a couple of dailies and also get 660k credits, and just, I'm talking about just the money what you're receiving, not talking about reputation and the, for example, gears what you're getting. You can also sell those, and also junks and things like that. So even get 660k plus, maybe more. But also, let's talk about another fact. Imagine if you are starting the game first time, and you're starting a level 60 character. Because why not? You just want to start it. You buy it from the cartel market. Imagine that, but also you wanna know a couple of stories and things like that. So let's do the Shadow of Revan storyline and the Knights of the Fallen Empire storyline. Of course, it requires a lot of time. I mean, a lot of time. But if you're doing all of this, all of the things in Knights of the Fallen Empire and the Shadow of Revan, it gives you 850k credits just to do this 2 storyline. And you are in the fresh start, you get 850k plus, probably a million or so. You are in the fresh server, and you can start getting money for that. You can buy a couple of things, you can go farm a couple of stuff, and you can just get a fresh start. You can get your stronghold and things like that. So this was just the simple things how you can get rich, and these are just the dailies. Tomorrow I'm gonna probably be posting the crafting ones, and those are gonna be a little bit funnier than this. Hope you guys enjoyed, and hope it gives you a pretty decent information or guide about how to get rich with dailies. See you guys next time. Bye bye.